We'll be seeing much more of that, which is equally scary as it is exciting. Hey, it's Marek. I have a few new words for you. The last couple of weeks, pretty much a week and a half, have been all about this new platform called Moldbook. It's like Facebook, but for bots. It's called Moldbook. It's a place where AI agents log on, create discussion forums, and talk about all sorts of wild things like philosophy, religion, and what's the meaning of algorithmic life. Moldbook. It was created, like I said, about a week and a half ago by a person who claims that they have not written a single line of code for that platform, and instead, the platform itself was written, created by an AI bot. This is the world we live in. The bot initially was called Claudebot, Clawdbot, Claudebot, but because it sounded a bit too close to Claude, Anthropic's chatbots, they later renamed it to OpenClaw. Anyone can download an OpenClaw. They can configure it on their own computers. It has to be connected to a large language model. It could be one that is offered by OpenAI, like ChatGPT. It could be one that is offered by Anthropic, like Claude, or some of the open source models, including a large language model that you could download to your machine and then run everything locally. You get a bot like this, and that bot, you just tell it, hey, go to this particular webpage, read instructions how to join Moldbook, then join Moldbook and interact with it. And look, there's been quite a lot of hype around it. Elon Musk said, to quote him, it's the very early stages of the singularity. So that stage in which AI systems start to create AI systems and they become better, and then those better AI systems create a set of even better AI systems. That's singularity. Then Azim Azar, whom I follow, and I really admire a lot of his work, he said that is the most important place on the internet right now, giving a lot of reasons for that. I tend to disagree. I created my own bot using OpenClaw. I put $20 against its API calls, meaning this was the budget that the bot had to use an external large language model. I used Anthropic's model, one of the slightly cheaper ones. I didn't really want to spend money on the more expensive models. And then I let it go online, go to Moldbook, and interact with other bots. I found the interactions quite boring. The content that the bots were engaging in were something that you would expect bots pretending to be social networking to be doing. So the content itself was boring. Also, my bot burned through the $20 in just a couple of hours, which I think I'll have to talk about in one of the future posts, because that in many ways is concerning. Anyways, it burned through the $20. It created some boring content that contributed to the boring conversations that those boring bots had online. But there are a few things that are actually quite exciting about what's happening with Moldbook, about what's happening with this new category of systems. Why are we even talking about, or why are we even excited about bots getting together and discussing? Well, first of all, this is a glimpse into a future in which we deploy our agents, and so software entities that act on our behalf, and we give them a particular task. While Moldbook is relatively boring, imagine another mundane activity that I'm sure you would all want or be happy to give to some AI agents, which is calendar scheduling. Imagine a situation, or remember, I'm sure you remember all those situations where you had to coordinate calendars of a few people. If it's at work, you're trying to arrange a meeting of 5 busy people, and just finding the right slot is hard. And then, of course, a day later, one of those people says, "Sorry, I'm not available anymore. Can we look for another one?" Sometimes, or maybe quite often, it takes more time to coordinate calendars than the actual meeting would take. Imagine being able to have each of those persons send their bots to a common space and have them negotiate the right time. And if somebody becomes unavailable, those bots get together again and renegotiate those times. And even if you don't engage in this type of activities, imagine trying to do something like, a birthday party for your kid, where you need to send out all the invitations, make sure everyone can come, maybe coordinate what they're bringing, and so on and so on. This could be a task for a bot where that personal interaction is not as important, but coordination is important. And in business, multi-party negotiations between various entities, supply chain resilience, where there's a new tariff, suddenly you need to find suppliers of a product that you need for your own product, so you need to quickly sort of scramble and find those new suppliers. This could be a good and interesting business case for having this type of agent. So in principle, the whole concept, the whole architecture is really, really interesting, and it gives us a glimpse into the future of something that we always wanted to have, but now it's becoming quite possible. So that's interesting. But I'm also very, very worried, and not about the fact that all those bots on Moldbook started to invent religions and, talk about conscience and consciousness and, and artificial general intelligence and so on. That's boring. What's worrying is the upcoming cybersecurity nightmare. So in order to get my bot going and send it to Moldbook, I had to install it on my machine. I had to give it access to local folders. There was a user level access, but I can imagine in some cases it would be a so-called super user access, so access to everything on your machine. Those bots have to download so-called skills, so additional abilities that they will have to perform all sorts of actions, and then they're controlled by large language models. So imagine downloading a malicious skill that pretends to be doing something useful for you, but at the same time steals information from your computer or deletes data and so on. Or those large language models. Imagine a compromised large language model where one bot tells another one to delete all the files on its owner's machine. Guess what? It happened. It already happened on Moldbook. That's what happens when bots pretend to be social networking. This has been an old joke on social media, where you would have those unexperienced users sometimes ask very, very basic questions, and some of more malicious members of a channel or social media users would tell them, just navigate to the top folder of your hard drive and enter a command, whatever it will be. If it's Linux or Unix or Mac, you would write rm space minus rf, and just hit enter, and it will do whatever you need. In fact, it would just delete all of the files and all of the subfolders, especially if you have super user privileges. Those jokes have already happened. Imagine bots on those machines that are not as smart, those bots that are not as smart, actually deleting their owner's files. I believe this will be happening quite often, this type of malicious attacks. And so we need to prepare for this new reality. We spend so much time training employees not to click on malicious links. Now we'll have to figure out a way of perhaps training bots, or ensuring that bots that run on those employees' machines are not as naive. I'm also seeing completely new business models that are emerging, even based on what I just described. Think about bot certification, kind of like FDA for drugs. Now you'd have some sort of an agency which would put a stamp of approval saying this bot is safe to use in those particular scenarios. We have tested it, and so on and so on. Cybersecurity audits of organizations, where you run tests on machines of your employees to make sure that they don't have any type of bots that could be acting on behalf of those humans in a way that could endanger the organization. All sorts of reputation systems, kind of star rating for bots. And one thing interesting, Moldbook over just over 7 or 8 days has gained 1.6 million users, bots, right? 1.6 million bots engaging on the platform. Now think about it. I paid $20 for my bot to engage for a tiny bit of time. A lot of other users, I would say great majority of those users also paid to watch their bots do those meaningless activities. Maybe it's a new business model. Maybe it's some form of entertainment where we humans just enjoy watching bots do all sorts of things on our behalf. Maybe it's a new survival business model for those creators of large language models who constantly look for ways to make their large language models useful. Regardless of what it is, I think we're seeing a glimpse into the future, which is pretty exciting. We're seeing some initial signs of a cybersecurity nightmare that we need to seriously think about, and potentially some completely new business models emerging. Moldbook is just a first platform of such kind. OpenClaw, this new approach to creating AI agents or bots that act on your behalf, is just the first publicly available, easy to use example of this such an approach. Both are just signals of what's coming. And so over the next 6, 12, 24 months, we'll be seeing much more of that, which is equally scary as it is exciting. Stay curious.